right, welcome everyone. Rissa Vibes here, aka Readings by Rissa. I am so excited to start this brand new weekly reading for this week in this beautiful Shining Light on Revolution series with my special guest, Mona. She is an Akashic healer and seer. She's absolutely amazing. I've known her for many years. We've watched each other grow and evolve in our spiritual journeys, and I'm so happy to have her a part of this weekly reading. We're going to be talking about so much today. Mona's going to be pulling cards and tapping into, with her intuition, into the Akashic records, which I'll have her explain a little bit further in just a second. And then, of course, we'll be going through the normal format of the weekly reading, where we will do some review of last week's cards, spirit messages that I've picked up on for this week coming up, and then we will talk about the many astrological influences that we have in our week this week. So before we get into that, and before we get into the weekly reading, I first want to just say thank you to everyone who has participated so far in the Shining Light on Revolution series, this all-day healing event for the summer solstice, shining light on the current events and our times right now. I'm so grateful to all of the luminaries, including Mona. We also had Denasia earlier today. We had Sabi just a little bit ago with a self-love workshop, and we have even more luminaries later on. We'll have Lotus Sky and Paola later, and some more roundtable discussion as well. So if you guys haven't checked any of the segments so far, make sure to go watch the replays. These are going to be available to you all day and forever on this channel. And I will say that if there's any delay in any upload of any live videos for replay, or if you're having a hard time finding a segment that you're looking for, please make sure to go to the promotional video that I posted about this event a few days ago. And in that description link, you will see the direct links to every single segment of this series. That way you can navigate to it right away. So with that being said, I also want to mention that we are supporting Black Lives Matter Phoenix Metro here locally in Arizona. And so we request that all donations be sent to BLM Phoenix Metro. We are supporting them in this Shining Light on Revolution series. So now that we've covered all of that, I am so excited to introduce Mona as my special guest for this weekly reading. Hi, Mona, how are you?
Hey, hi, Rissa. How are you?
I am so good. It's so good to have you here.
Yes, it's exciting. Beautiful day. Beautiful day.
Yes, it is. And it's Father's Day, which I am so excited to be a part of this day and this amazing energy and have it be Father's Day, because I think, you know, it's interesting that, you know, we have so many POC divine feminine healers in this series, and this divine feminine energy, I think, is so necessary to cater and to honor and to hold space for the divine masculine at this time with Father's Day.
Right. Of course, we have to make sure we take time for the fathers, all of the fathers out there. Today's their day, and spoil them. Also, just remember that the fathers, just like us, the mothers, they also have emotions. They're feeling things. They're feeling the energy shift on the planet and everything. So make sure we just take time out to treat them good today, spoil them, and let them know that they're great, that we're grateful for them in our lives.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, I agree completely. We often forget like how much our elders and also our family members, who maybe are the strong ones in the family or perceivably the strong ones in the family, we forget how they may be affected by things going on as well. We forget to check on them. So definitely checking on your strong friends, strong family members, your father figures, and the strong men in your life, definitely so important right now. And we are sending so much love and light to all of the fathers out there watching. Happy Father's Day. We're so excited to be holding this space for you today.
Yes, happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
So let's get yes.
So I want to start this weekly reading, as we always do, with a little bit of a review of last week. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the cards we pulled last week. Last week we pulled the enchantment card at the beginning of the week. Then we pulled the Archangel Michael card at the middle of the week, which I think was really powerful, activating our magic in the beginning of the week and then having protection from Archangel Michael of our magic in the middle of the week. And then the end of the week was a creative energy. It was the creativity card, really calling us to focus on manifestation, what we're putting in, and what we're putting into something is what we'll get out from it. And then for the moon card that I pulled, just to kind of preface the energy of today, was a mother's love, which I think is so perfect because today, you know, we're here, we're like just talking about holding space. It's so perfect.
That's so funny. It's ironic. We talked about that in the roundtable about the feminine and the mother and the universe. So wow, amazing that we pulled that card.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I think it's such a perfect way to jump off from the energy of last week into this week. This week being the June 21st to June 28th is what we'll be covering. But since it's a special day and a special event, we're really going to be covering everything that we can really see with our intuition, right, Mona?
Right. Everything, whatever pops out, whatever comes to mind, what we see, we're going to let you know.
Right. And I love that because it's so important to be able to just receive whatever spirit gives us. And Mona, I want to give you an opportunity to give everyone a little bit of an idea of your intuitive work, your spiritual work. I know you're a seer and an Akashic healer, but can you tell everybody a little bit about what that means?
Yes. As a seer, I had developed my gifts at a very young age. Apparently it's inherited down my bloodline. My grandmother had it and it skipped a generation and then I got it. It didn't take full effect until I was around 11 after a series of events that happened to me. And for a long time, I kind of locked those gifts down until I realized I could no longer lock them down anymore. And that was why I was here, to use those gifts to help other people. And as an Akashic reader, what I do is I use my gifts as a seer to go in and help people to understand that when you come down into this planet, you've already preordained your contract of how you're going to come down and what you're here to fulfill. What happens is us living a human life down here, we tend to forget why we're here. So I'm just here to wake you up and remind you why you're here and to help you find out what your gifts are, your talents are, and how you can express them and how you can rewrite some of those contracts in your Akashic records to manifest a better life for you and to go on. And so you can go on and help other people and heal them. So that's basically what I do as an Akashic healer.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love how you talk about rewriting the contract. I think that's so important for people to know that they can do. You know, a lot of people, we talk about soul contracts and we want to clear contracts and we want to cut cords. And I do a lot of that work myself, but I think it's so important that you are talking about the actual rewriting of the contracts and that's what you specialize in, because I think that's such a powerful work to be done, especially with people, you know, that have strong contracts with family members, you know, parents, siblings, children. You know, you don't necessarily want to clear those contracts, but you might want to be able to rewrite them. So I love that that's your work.
Yes. And sometimes, a lot of times when I'm pulling the cards or I'm reading the records for my clients, they already know. It's almost like they just need me just to kind of tap in and remind them. And then we find out what the homework is. What does the Akashic Records want you to know at this moment, at this time? And when we find out what they want you to know, then we do the homework of going in and we do a specific, like rewriting this contract. So you no longer have to carry that burden or that karma with you. As you rewrite your contract, I always make sure you manifest more, like better for yourself. And always send it. And when you rewrite your contracts, send it out with love. If it's a contract of breaking or cutting a cord, we always want to make sure we send that contract away with love and no negativity. And we bring in all the positivity. And I have watched people's lives literally change. Literally, I've watched them like rewrite their contracts and their lives change and they're a whole nother person after they're reminded and they remember why they came here, what their gifts are, and what they need to do to ground themselves, to maintain that spiritual level, to make it through the day, you know? So
Wow, yeah,
actually,
that's so
I really,
powerful.
yeah, I really enjoy it. I have to say for myself, I've spent a lifetime trying to run away from my gifts, and I had to rewrite my contracts, you know? And when I found out, oh, this is what you do, this is what you're really good at, now it's like, oh, I just want to make everyone else feel what I feel, you know, the energy of what I feel, and waking up and feeling that gratefulness. I want everyone to feel that. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's so
Oh,
powerful. And I can't wait for people to experience that magic in this reading and also one-on-one with you. Um,
yeah.
Now, with that being said, I think it's super exciting to have what you do specifically merged with these weekly readings, because I think it'll be really fun to
Mhm.
kind of see what the Akashic Records holds for the mass collective. So
Yes.
I'm really excited for that. So I know you're going to be kind of tapping in while I'm going over the messages I've got. So feel free to interject me at any time with whatever you might get along the way. And we'll feel into it. This is so fun.
Yes, if I see something, I will let you know. A lot of times with me, visions come fast, and I just see it in pictures, and I'll let you know exactly. Or
Yeah, that clairvoyance. I love it. Ooh, okay, cool. All right, so I'll go into a little bit of the messages that I was getting. Of course, we talked about Father's Day, and what I was really getting intuitively about this, we already kind of touched on, but I'll just say it again. We're honoring the divine masculine by holding space for them with our divine feminine essence. And of course, when we talk about divine masculine and divine feminine energy, we also want to acknowledge that every single person, every single being, conscious being, has that difference of energy, that polarization, that divine feminine and divine masculine within them. Whatever, no matter how they present physically or sexually, this is their energy embodiment, divine feminine and divine masculine. So we also recognize that on Father's Day and during the summer solstice, which I'll get into in a second, we're really learning how to hold space for the divine masculine within us. And I know right now in our world, we've really all been triggered a lot of ways with our divine masculine, that anger, that rage, that feeling of defense, that need to fight or aggress towards something or assert ourselves. That energy is powerful and warranted given the times right now, but also
right.
so important that we heal the extra shadowy parts of that energy with divine feminine love, the nurturance of divine feminine energy, the creative essence, the intuitive essence, that soft, graceful essence of the feminine that is gentle but fierce in her own way as well. So I'm really excited for that energy, because with the summer solstice being today, we are starting the summer season. Today is the first day of summer, which is super exciting. And it's hot out here in Arizona, so I can feel it.
Scorcher, scorcher, scorcher. It's so funny that you were talking about the divine masculine. I pulled a card,
Yeah.
and the card of war and battles showed up.
Ooh.
And I
Yeah.
think this is very important for the time that we're in right now, because we are fighting a spiritual war.
Yep.
And we are fighting a battle. You know, there's a lot going on the planet right now. And just taking this moment, this time today to honor our divine masculine as they're going out there and they're fighting this battle with the divine feminine is very important. So I find that ironic that this card would pop out and just
Yeah.
out at me. Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Yeah, we talked about it in the roundtable. I talked about it last week in the last week's weekly reading about spiritual war. And literally it
Right.
just keeps being this theme. Like, this is so cool that it's still progressing, because it's just our guides really validating us that, yes, we're in this spiritual energetic war, and we feel it in our bodies and we see it in our experience. And when we think about spiritual war, it's so important that we that we do assert ourselves and go after what we want, but that we also take time to kind of come back and observe and reconnect and revitalize ourselves, rejuvenate ourselves, heal ourselves. And so it's that ebb and flow, which I think the summer solstice is so powerful for, because being that we're moving into summer season, you know, we're activating this return of the great Father Spirit is really what it's about. This energy of ourselves returning to Christ consciousness, this ability to raise our vibration and raise our awareness of things. And so as we do, we feel the ebb and flow of consciousness, the parts of us that sit back and observe and expand our mind, and then from there go in with new strategy and new energy to fight for what we want, and then coming back and doing that again. And as we do, we raise higher and higher into that ascension into Christ consciousness as a collective. And it's just so beautiful. It's this rebirth after resurrection, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think there's,
like
go ahead.
When we speak on the rebirth, we always speak about the resurrection. I mean, like literally, like in religion, you've grown up and you've heard about the resurrection. Well, I feel like we're in that time now. We're resurrecting our ancestors, and those old wars and battles are coming back to the forefront. And it's very important right now that we stay grounded. It's very important that we take the time to focus on ourselves, because we, as you said, we are fighting a spiritual battle, you know? And as the spiritual battle is going on, we're going to win, by the way.
Yeah. The light always wins.
We're definitely going to win. But as this battle is going on, we need to understand this is already preordained. You're here for this time. We need to own it. We need to embrace it, and we need to not be scared. Okay? We're here as a collective to win this battle. This is the time. And it is a resurrection and a rebirth. And like you said, it's a war and a battle. But we're going to win this war and battle. You know, so today is summer solstice, one of the most powerful days of the year, Father's Day. I mean, it's just an amazing day. It's like, and this card is almost like saying, look, today, summer solstice, I'm just letting you know, the divine masculine, stop worrying. You are going to win the wars and the battles. So take today for yourself. Relax, treat yourself.
Oh, so powerful. I could not agree more. And when you think about, you know, that masculine energy and the summer solstice coming together, you know, the color of summer solstice, like yellow, I had to wear some yellow today. I see you with the red, you know, and the gold, those sunshine colors, right?
The sun, yes, the sun, you know, and the red represents, like, where I'm from, red represents the blood, right? So red is such a powerful energy. It's a powerful color. I try to embrace red and gold as much as I can. Yeah, and it represents a lot. If you go back in the time, you look at some of our gods and goddesses from ancient Egypt, they always had the red solar disk. And being that today is summer solstice, and you have like Hathor and Isis, and they had the big red disk, you know, and that, a solar disk. So of course I had to put my red on.
And I did my yellow because I'm like feeling Oshun lately. I've been feeling Oshun a lot. I did an offering for her yesterday.
The gold.
And the color of yellow too, it's this energy of the solar plexus. It's the energy of charging forward, of drive, of soul power, of confidence, of fearlessness. Like you said, Mona, that fearlessness, you know, not being fearful, being bold and brave, and knowing that we are going to win this war, and that we have the soul power to do so. So all of that representing the summer solstice. And I wanted to share a little bit about Oshun real quick, because I also felt her energy so strong for me, and really been holding us in a beautiful space over the last several weeks. And Oshun, her energy is yellow as well. She always wears the yellow dress, and she has the honey pot on her hip, and she carries that everywhere. And she represents the sweetness of life and this energy of the feminine being able to heal and transmute any darkness just by bringing in the sweetness of life, joy and pleasure and happiness and dance. And so this energy of reminding ourselves to stand in the sun, to stay in the sun, and to stand in the sun when we're feeling darkness, or we're feeling heavy, or we're feeling lost or confused, that all we have to do is stand in that sun, feel that yellow beam, that golden beam of light, and remind ourselves that that heat, that warmth, and the sweetness of life is always surrounding us and within us. And that can truly, truly elevate us out of any kind of heaviness we may be feeling.
Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful rebirth. And doesn't she represent the mother too, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so she's the mother spirit of the Orishas.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a rebirthing of the planet. In fact, I'm reminded of a story about Oshun when apparently when she came down, and some of the other gods at that time, they were a bit jealous of her. They didn't want her to work her magic upon the earth, and so Oshun left. She left.
They didn't think that they needed her. They was like, oh, this woman, she's just the only woman out of all the gods. We don't need her. So she's like, fine, if you don't need me, bye.
And what happened when she left? What happened when you removed
everything dried up? Because she brings the water, the river, the nourishment, the flow, and the creation, the birth of life. And so when Oshun leaves, life leaves.
Exactly. And just like summer solstice, like Oshun is the light. She is the summer, the solstice, the sun. So yes, very important.
We're feeling her energy right now. And I think she's just really reminding us to be our true selves, to stand in the sun, to not let anyone disrespect us or dull our shine, but to really own our true essence and to let that be who we are always. So I love that. I think it's so powerful.
Beautiful.
Shining bright, just like shining light on revolution, that's what we're doing. Oops. I got so excited I bumped my table. So with that being said, I also had this message, and tell me what you think about this, Mona, because I know your kind of spiritual history and even some of your astrology, and we were talking about this a little bit ago, but it was funny because I didn't really put two and two together until just now, that I got this message about the death portals opening up. And what I was getting was that there's these death portals kind of opening up for souls to take their transition in a time where there is such a death and rebirth cycle happening. And that for the mass collective, a lot of souls that have already completed their soul work or just recently completed their soul work or karma are kind of taking advantage of these death doors, these death portals, and their souls are leaving, they're transitioning into the spirit world because they're complete. And some of these are unconscious choices, but they are soul level choices based on just that soul work being complete and the soul needing to kind of transition on at that complete level as to not regress into more karma or anything else. Have you been feeling that at all? And what would you take? What would be your take on that?
So in my line of work, I deal with death quite a lot. In fact, as a seer, that was like one of the number one things that I've dealt with is seeing spirit realm, witnessing, being present at the time of death. And my feeling is, yes, there's a huge, massive shift with the death portal being open. Those souls have completed their mission. There are new souls coming into the earth. There are new souls awakening that are already in the earth that are awakening. When we say death is such a human term. There's no death. You understand?
Yeah.
Death is a transition.
Yeah.
When we're not here present in this life, you're present somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. And I look at the earth like here's the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a new earth, and the earth is pulling apart and separating.
Yeah, I see that too. Yeah, I see it all the time.
So as the earth is pulling apart, some of us are going to leave this earth and go over to this earth. Mm-hmm. So maybe we won't see them, but they're there. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then I want to tell you something else too. Some of us are transitioning and you're still here in this earth. Mm-hmm. But there's another one of you in the new earth, because there are some people that are so stuck in their way, and when that's another form of death. They don't want to wake up. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they know they can see the signs, but somewhere they're a little stuck, that's where people like you and I come in to help them to wake up. That's our soul mission, is to get as many of them that are stuck to wake up so that they can transition to the other side. Yeah. So what happens is, because we're so multidimensional, there could be a Rissa here. Yeah. But there's a higher vibrating Rissa over there. Mm-hmm. And you're just here just to wake up the rest. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But really you're vibrating over there. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense to me. And I think it's making a lot of sense to everybody watching too, because I talk a lot about multidimensionality. So I think a lot of people can kind of understand from that perspective. And this does get into the quantum perspectives of things, you guys. So like, if you're not following this conversation, that's okay. Do some research on parallel realities, parallel universes, multiple dimensions, the understanding of astral travel, and the way in which your body is multidimensional. And of course, you can always get with one of us to dive deeper into these topics as well. But absolutely, Mona, I couldn't agree more. Like, this energy of really that pulling apart of the dimensions. We talk about the third dimension and the fifth dimension, the new earth and the old earth, just this transition of the spirit world and the physical world. We're always conscious of that duality and that multidimensionality. But what I think we're seeing right now in the world, as we continue on this path of transformation, is that we're all waking up to the ways in which those levels are showing themselves in our life and in our consciousness. And that's happening in very different ways for a lot of different people.
Yes. And what I want people to understand is, you write a contract when you come down to this planet. Yeah. Okay. You don't remember that contract. Right. That's the problem. Yeah. If you could remember that contract, you would understand that that there's a time that you're going to be born, and there's a time that you signed on that contract that you're going to leave. The lessons are done. With your soul contract, how I like to tell people how it works is, say you leave, you go through the death portal and you leave, and you're always met with love and light, and everything's beautiful for a while. You're resting, and then the council, I guess, who you would say the judge or Allah or God or heaven, they're going to come to you one day in the new earth, and they're going to say, hey, Rissa, come, I want to talk to you. And you're going to go talk to them, and they're going to show you your life on this planet. And how they show it to you is not in the way you remember it, but they're going to show you in the way of how you affected other people and how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And the first thing you're going to say is, oh, I didn't mean to make her feel like that. I didn't know, like, when I said this or said that, she feels this way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you're automatically going to be like, I want to go back. I want to go back. But this time when I go back, I want to go back as her. I want to go back as my father or my mother, because I want to heal that. Because it's just a natural thing for us to want to fix what's broken. Yes. Right?
Yep, yeah, exactly.
And so when you come back, that's like you fixing your karma. Mm-hmm. But what happens when you start vibrating and you start understanding on a spiritual level, you start realizing, oh, wait, I can fix my karma now. I don't have to wait till I go over there.
Right.
To face the judges. I could just be like, okay, this friendship didn't work out, so let me just get my pen and paper and write like all that I feel, and I'm sorry, and I wish this didn't happen, and blah, blah, blah. And you can write that contract out, you can leave that contract, finish that contract, and you can end that here on this planet before you leave and transcend. And as you do that with forgiveness and with love, you transcend higher and higher and higher. So so we deal with the spiritual death, we deal with the reality death here on this planet, but I'm not worried about a physical death on this planet. I'm worried about a spiritual death. The spiritual death, you not vibrating. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing is
my bell keeps dropping, but I cover my head because spiritually, the reason why I cover is because I am a seer, and my culture, I feel like I need to cover my head because we get a lot of downloads in our hair. Very, very spiritual for us, and I see a lot. So the covering kind of protects me. So I'm so sorry it keeps slipping.
No, you're fine. Yeah, feel free to adjust as many times as you need to, love.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think it's so important, this elevation of consciousness, when you talk about the spiritual deaths and really, not letting yourself advance to another consciousness, not letting yourself expand your mind, expand your heart, expand your soul power and awareness of it. These are things that cause that spiritual death that allows us to not be able to be conscious into our transition and to not allow us to continue evolving in our karma and working that stuff through in our life right now. It kind of symbolizes giving up on that soul mission or on that soul evolution. And so it's so important now more than ever when these kind of portals are open, when such transformation is happening, that we keep our vibration at the highest level possible, that we really allow ourselves to open our hearts and minds, even if it means that it's uncomfortable at first, even if it means we have to let go of things that we thought were the case before, so important. Oh yeah, what's that one?
Release and let go. It said let go, and I had already pulled it.
Yes.
Even if we have to let go, and this card sums up exactly what you're saying, what I'm saying. Sometimes we just need to release and let go.
So true. So true. Yeah, and I think we're going to do that a lot this week. More so than ever with the new beginnings.
The remaining of this year, there was a reason why things happened the way they happened this year. To sit us down.
Yep. Yeah, we had to stay put. We had to be shown what wasn't working. We had to take that step back to see it clearly. We had to sit in that isolation to really be with ourselves and to go through the uncomfortability of feeling ourselves right there all the way through, all day through, just really learning so much about ourselves. And that is that resurrection, the resurrection of our true self, which is something that we talked about a couple months ago in the weekly readings as well. And then now moving into the summer solstice of returning to that Christ consciousness, that rebirth from the resurrection, and, the death portals being a part of that as well. And so from there, I think it's so important to also touch on, and I think this is probably one of the last spirit messages I have. Oh, maybe one of the last spirit messages I have. But touching on the uncomfortability of growth and of ascension and of evolution, because it is uncomfortable. We're going to hear things that are going to be a shot to our ego. We are going to have uncomfortable confrontational conversations with people to get our point across, or to be heard, or to hear their side. We are going to have to change the way we do things, and that's not going to be comfortable because we're used to doing things a very specific way. All of these things, though, are so important for our growth, so important for us to step into this next phase of evolution and to keep our vibration evolving as a mass consciousness as well.
And with that uncomfortability, we are going to have to walk away sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
And we are going to have to come to understanding that everybody is not going to be with us as we go through that uncomfortability. Of, when things start to change, and we're especially like when we're vibrating higher and we know that we're getting these massive downloads that are coming through. And it's like one day you go to bed and you're Mona, wild, crazy Mona, and you wake up one day and it's like, I don't feel good. Like that just doesn't feel good to me anymore. Like, I don't want to go out anymore. I kind of want to sit with myself. I don't want to talk to that person anymore. Every time I talk to that person, it's negative, negative, negative. You know, we're going to have to realize that sometimes we're going to have to pull out the scissors and cut and walk away. Yeah. And it's not mean. It's because we realize that we are changing. Our vibrations changing. And I'm not saying anything negative about the people that we walk away with, because everyone vibrates at a different level. And eventually they're going to vibrate on the same level, or you're going to vibrate at the same level. That's the whole goal. The whole goal is to get everybody to vibrate at the same level. But until then, sometimes it's okay to tell your friends, hey, you know what? I'm going to take some time away. I need to sit with myself. I need to be with myself for a while. It's okay. Because at the end of the day, you're not doing anyone else's service if you're not vibrating at, you know, and you're not healthy and you're not feeling good. And every time, and you just don't have the energy anymore. You know, how are you going to be able to help anyone if you're not vibrating at the right level? So sometimes like that uncomfortability means cutting people off and walking away. And you can come back as soon as they, you know, you can let them back in your life when you feel like you're vibrating at the same level, or you could just wish them well, be their cheerleader.
Love from a distance, right?
Yeah, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. That's okay.
Yeah, it's about preservation of your vibration above all else right now, I think. And yeah, sometimes that means distancing yourself from certain people, certain environments, certain circumstances, or even communities because of the energy, but also making sure you're sending love, you're understanding that frequency, you're holding space for what you can hold space for. But other than that, you know, making sure that you're preserving yourself, so important.
Right. You have to be, you know, in this line of work, not even in this line of work, but just in general, even if you're not on your path yet, you need to make sure that you take the time to make sure you're healthy and that you're okay. Mental health is so important.
Yes.
It's so important. And I've been around some of the greatest people that you would think that they have it all together. And because I'm a seer, and this is something that like I wish I didn't have, but because I'm a seer, and it's like sometimes I kick myself because like I'm a seer and I'm a Sagittarius, which is crazy. You don't mix good. But because I'm a seer, it's like I'm just like, oh, like you see this person and she's got this perfect life and she's got her whole life together, or he has his whole life together, and you're just like, oh, they're cool, they got their whole life together, and then you're around them for 2 minutes and you just like, as a seer, I'm popped in, and then I'm like, let me get out of there because they do not have it together. Yeah, so sorry about that. I don't know. Okay. I have, but as a seer, I know that like in just in general, that mental health is so important. It's so important to make sure that we take care of ourselves, and I'm that we're okay.
No, you're so right. And I think that's so true. You know, when we take care of ourselves, we end up taking care of the world because we're filling our cup back up. You know what I mean? So when we don't have the energy for something, we got to honor that, and we've got to give ourselves that time to rejuvenate and heal.
Right.
Another message I got too, especially because yesterday was my Starseed Saturday segment that I do every week on Facebook, and that's where I connect with our cosmic guides of love and light that are really helping the human race evolve. And the Starseed cards yesterday, we got the Force of Attraction card again. This is the second time we got it in a week from the Orion Light constellation, which is really powerful. And what the Orions were saying to us in the cards was that we are ready for initiation and ceremony into that Force of Attraction. And in fact, the Vegans brought that initiation and ceremony card forth, which I think is super great, because today I feel like this is an initiation and ceremony. We've got summer solstice, the moon, we're doing this healing event, we're talking about transformation and rebirth. So the guide's coming forth and saying, you know, initiation and ceremony is here, Force of Attraction for a second week in a row. But then what was really interesting after we meditated on that and activated that energy, the galactic guides are so great because they always let us know, okay, where's the resistance, or what else do we need to work on from there? And what they gave us was the arrogance card from Lyra. And they told us with that we have to make sure we keep our arrogance in check, that we tame that we let go of the parts of us that are so in our ego that we're resisting unity where unity can be made.
Yeah, I feel that. It's so funny. Ironic, you would say initiations. I've had about 3 clients this past week that were going through an initiation. And I literally pulled their cards and I'm like, the reason why you're not feeling well, honey, is because you're going through an initiation right now. And those downloads are making you extremely tired. And they're like, yeah, I can't wake up. I have no energy. I'm like, bear with me. We're also in retrograde.
Yeah, so important to recognize when we're going through ceremony or initiation of our spirit, or we're elevating our vibration. You know, we talk about light codes and spirit activations from the cosmos and from our higher selves and from, you know, the energy of the times. And when we undergo that, our physical body, what's happening is our physical body is shifting our vibration. It's learning how to resonate at a completely different vibration than it's been resonating at. And that affects every single cell in our body. And our spirit is really already downloaded to that new vibration and totally resilient and fine. But it's our body that has to adapt to that new vibration and to kind of take on some of the exhaustion of that shift, because our body is our vessel. It's not really our spirit. It's not really going to move as quickly as our spirit does. So it takes that little lag time. And that's what we feel. We feel lagged. We feel tired. We feel even sometimes, you know, confused or in a fog. And it's because we need to rest, let our body recover from these downloads, and then adapt to that new vibration.
Right. And you can even, I mean, if you're not taking care of yourself mentally and physically, you could actually make yourself sick.
Yes.
Like really sick, you know?
Especially if you try to push through it without listening to your body.
Right, right. Which is what most of us try to do.
Yeah, we're conditioned to do that, right?
Yeah. So I think that just what you're saying goes back to taking care of yourself, which is ironic because what did you say? Who the galactic? Brian's Truth and Justice card. Yes. So the Akashic Records is asking us to look at the truth and the justice, and to understand that with everything taking place that's going on, the truth is being revealed. Justice is being revealed.
Yes.
And as we get these downloads and we upgrade and we get our initiations, it's almost like you know that you were born into the world to do great things and to be like a healer and everything, but you've put it on the back burner like most of us try to do. And now your truth and your justice is like staring you in the face, and like the universe is forcing you to take it because you put it on the back burner. So now you're being initiated. Yeah. No more teachers for you. We're just going to initiate you, and you're going to have to get out there and do it. So yes, this is coming through from the
it's so powerful. And even what I'm getting with that is like no more procrastination, you know, like on anything, not on your soul mission, not on standing for what you believe in, not on speaking up for what you believe in, you know, no procrastination in the ideas and inspiration that Spirit's been giving you to manifest your reality, or the, you know, signs and synchronicities that it's been trying to show you to, you know, do better at that body care or that soul spirit work. We've got to stop the procrastination, because the revolution is now. It is happening now.
It's televised. It's televised.
It is televised. Yes.
Like, how could you write a song, The Revolution Will Be Televised? And we're literally living in a time where everyone has a cell phone with a camera. Okay. I've seen people make posts like, well, where did all those people, just 10 people showed up and they had cameras? Yes, everyone has a cell phone, everyone has a camera.
And everybody knows how to get to it like that because it's a selfie, you know?
So where is this coming from? You know what I mean? Like, stop deflecting. start realizing that this is happening.
Yeah.
This is not a conspiracy. This is happening. I'm so like, and I love conspiracies. Trust me, but I love good conspiracies. But this is not a conspiracy. Yeah. You are living a time of a revolution.
Yeah. In fact, the conspiracies are a part of the revolution.
Right.
It's like, it's funny because people will try to deflect from all these things happening by saying, oh, it's not real, or this isn't happening, or this isn't, but actually, like, it's more real than you ever could imagine. And if you dive deep into how real it is, you'll actually realize what isn't real that is being pushed as real, and vice versa. And then you realize, yeah, we're in this, like, this is happening now. This is not something that's just somebody made it up, or it's just going to go away, or it's not a moment, right? It's a movement.
Yeah. Really before like technology, and I think I said this in the round table, you know, I grew up in a time with the black and white television. We had like one anchor man that came on and told us what the tea was, and we had to go with it. We don't live that time anymore. We don't have to vibrate on that time. If you see something, an injustice happening in this world, and you defend it because you want to put it off as a conspiracy, then you need to take a real good look at yourself. You can't make this stuff up. I don't think anyone can make up a conspiracy as good as some of the stuff that we are actually seeing take place on a day-to-day basis. You
and
can't make stuff.
In fact, the term conspiracy was actually created by the CIA to deflect from people paying attention to those who have seen or were able to see through the systems that they were creating to suppress and oppress people. Just like back in the day when the witch trials were happening, you could call anybody a witch just for telling you the truth and kind of exposing you for something that you did, and somebody could easily counter, well, she's a witch, she's crazy, I never did that, even though there's plenty of evidence to support it, you know. And same thing with heretics, you know, all the way back in with the hysteria of women. This has been happening for eons of time, this idea of conspiracies
hundreds of years this has been happening. And how can you believe in the witch trials but you can't believe in like the Black Lives Matter movement? Like all of a sudden these are conspiracies, you know, and the police didn't really shoot that man, or they didn't really kill that man. How did they kill that man? And like a group of people were there to record it. Okay.
Well, this is the thing, and I will interrupt you on that real quick, because I will say I have opinion on this. I have been diving deep into these kinds of perspectives, and I have been seeing quite a lot of research to back these kind of claims. Now, I'm not going to tell you that any of those claims are true or not, because that's not my place. But I will say it's so important to do your own research and to understand that, yes, there may be things that even could have been fabricated surrounding this movement, but what's not fabricated is the fact that these systems have been in place for eons of time to suppress people of color. And so what we have to realize is that this is a fight against good and evil. And it's not just a fight against Black people and white people. It's a fight against people who are truthful and who are honest and who are promoting good and love and evolution of consciousness.
Oppression. It's an oppression on the system.
Equality. Right, versus people who are using everything that they can to push people down, or to silence people, or to manipulate people with media, or manipulate people with all sorts of things. And that's something that I'm really passionate about talking about eventually. But what I wanted to do, what was so important for me during this event was like to really make sure that we take time to honor this movement, this revolution, this awareness of marginalized communities being suppressed for decades and centuries, because we can't really have conversations about what is underneath all of that, or what darkness is underneath even the darkness there, until we can hold space for the healing needed going on right now, you know. So I plan on having conversations about the conspiracies. I plan on having conversations that are definitely uncomfortable and probably will make a lot of people upset if they haven't done their research. I'm ready to have those conversations, but I'm not ready to have them in sacrifice of the conversations needed around this movement right now.
Right. There's in the whole of the earth.
Yeah.
There's healing that needs to be done. And it's not just here in America. It's in a whole, like a collective. There's a lot of people of color hurting. And like we were talking about the death portals. Yeah. It's so ironic. It's almost as if the ancestors are back on the planet.
I feel that too. They're so strong.
Yeah, you know how when the older people see a baby and they say, oh, that baby's been here before. They always say that. They always say that. Oh, he's cute. Oh, he looks like his grandfather. Oh, he's been here before. Look at his demeanor and his way. Yes, he's an ancestor. He's back, you know? And I really do believe a lot of the ancestors have reincarnated and resurrected back on the planet. And there's a healing that needs to take place. Yep. Just like with the Akashic records, like they're here and they don't know they're here and they didn't finish what happened in the past. And now they're here and they're living through these traumas again. And people of color in general have a lot of trauma that is afflicted on them. And they have a lot of illness that is inflicted on them because mentally and physically, you can't say anything. You have to just deal with certain things on a day-to-day. And I don't think there's one person of color in America or anywhere on this planet that hasn't had to shut their mouth and hold their tongue and grit down on their teeth and deal with situations that other people may not have to deal with. Yeah. You know? So in all, there's a lot of healing that has to take place on this planet. Before we can fight anything, we have to heal. You know, as we're fighting, there has to be institutions set up to help heal our men and our women that are suffering daily because we don't have a therapist to talk to at the end of the day. Yeah. You know, when you're denied service or you're pulled over for driving just because you have a nice car, or you're walking down the street and someone says something, and like this is a day-to-day thing that people of color go through. And I don't think anyone can understand how it feels daily to be belittled and be graded, like constantly, you know?
And what it does to our psyche, you know, even seeing a man killed by a police officer in the way that he was, and it replaying and replaying and replaying, that is a psychological dismantling of our masculinity, of our soul power. Every time we see that, we see ourselves in that person of color dying on the street. We feel that death within ourselves. We feel that lack of safety. We feel that fear and anxiety and panic. And so whether or not, you know, these things are happening all the time or in our face or not, this is what we're experiencing every single time we are observing it. And so that's affecting us.
I can honestly tell you, Rissa, I have boys, all boys, and they're grown now. My youngest is 17, and I'm going to tell you something. I fear every day. There's not a day I fear every day. When he doesn't want to go out, I'm just like, okay, that's good. Today I don't have to worry.
Yeah, so sad. I don't have to feel that way.
Yeah, but I feel
that way.
When he used to get on the school bus to go to school, I'd be like, oh, like all day long, panic. I hope he makes it back. I hope he makes it back. You know what I mean? And now he's at the age. I used to think, oh, I can't wait till he gets to be 17, 18, he could go out and do whatever. And now he's 17, and I'm like, oh, I don't want you to go out because you look like a man, and I know you're good, but someone else may not think you're good, and you may go up the street just to get an iced tea and not make it back, you know? So when he says, oh, I'm not going out, that's a day I don't have to stress. I don't have to worry.
It just breaks my heart, you know, that kind of fear happens. And like you said earlier, you know, the best thing we can do is remind ourselves of our light, and to not fear, and to know that there are forces outside of us that we cannot see, that we can feel are on our side, and a light within us that is also really burning bright to help us stay safe.
Healing, healing.
And that's why our intuition is so important too, which is why I really have such a passion teaching people of color specifically how to tap into their intuition, because when you have your intuition on point, you can feel a situation before it happens. You can get yourself out of that, you know, that thing that you can feel the energy shift in the room. You can keep yourself from going out from that, you know, into that energy.
My intuition is so on point. I have people say, are you going to come do this event? Come do that. And I know that they think that I'm like being stuck up, or that I'm saying, oh no, I don't want to be a part of that. It's not that. My intuition has already tapped in. I've seen how this event or how this thing's going to play out, and I'm just not going to do it. Yeah. That's just how I flow. And I try to tell them, look, thank you for the offer. I don't think this is for me.
Great.
And that's how, you know, I bow out gracefully.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they always come back. They're like, I should have listened to you. Mm-hmm. No one showed up. No one came. It was bad. And I was like, yeah, you probably should have listened. Mm-hmm. But you got to learn how to tap into that, because, you know, what we call a gut feeling, you should always go with that feeling. Yeah. You know, we say it's a gut feeling. That's your intuition telling you
instinct.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You already know. And that's something that is very, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's very powerful, especially people of color. Yeah. We need to tap into, need to know, hey, maybe you don't need to go out with your friends tonight. Maybe you should stay home, you know, or maybe you need to go with your auntie and uncle, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, such a powerful conversation. I'm seeing everybody loving it in the comments too. So, so beautiful. Thank you everybody for all of your beautiful words of support. So I want to now go into a little bit of the astrology aspect of things. Now, Mona, feel free to let me know. Would you like to do a little Akashic reading before we go into that? Or would you like to just pull cards as I do so?
Go ahead. Yeah, I would love to hear about the astrology. I know a little bit about astrology. I am by no means a master.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll run through these really quick. I think it's so important to talk about, because this week, and specifically today, we have tons of astrological influences. First of all being the summer solstice, which we just talked about, this energy of the summer starting today, and that sun energy, that power, that soul activation coming with it. Then we also have a new moon in Cancer today, and that new moon in Cancer is actually a solar eclipse as well, which is really, really powerful. So another addition of sun energy there, and sun represents action as well, and movement forward, and new beginnings. With this new moon merging with that solar eclipse is really helping us to shine a lot of light on the ways in which we want to begin again in certain things in our life, or to, you know, clean the slate and do things differently to ensure more success for us. And so with the new moon in Cancer, the Cancer energy, this is of course inviting us into Cancer season today. So this is really exciting. Shout out to all the Cancers. Happy birthday to all of you this season. But this is really an energy of stepping into your power, your soul mission. We're going to be seeing people doing this all week, and you're going to feel more encouraged to do it for yourself as well through inspired action. We're also going to have a heightened awareness of our emotional intelligence, as well as emotional intelligence in others. So our EQ is going to be raising, which is going to be so helpful for us, because when we have a low EQ, or when we're not in touch with our emotional intelligence, it makes it very hard to read the emotions of others, read the intentions of others, and even understand how to process and express our own emotions appropriately in situations. So this emotional intelligence activation with the new moon in Cancer is really going to help us all treat our emotions with more maturity and have better conversations versus confrontations. And I think that's going to be really helpful with the times right now. It's also important to know that with this new moon in Cancer, and because Cancer is a water sign, we really want to pay attention to our emotions in a way of not hoarding them, not holding them all in and not letting them process, because that will end up really damaging our perception of an experience or ourselves in a given moment. So essentially, another part is really transmutation with emotions. This is really this idea of using your emotions in an alchemical way. When you're feeling anger, when you're feeling fear, when you're feeling frustration, can you change that into and transmute that into passion or creation or a direct action for something that you actually want to manifest positively in your life or in your experience? Because when we can channel those emotions into something productive, we're using that Cancer energy to our advantage. So those are just some of the things that I've been picking up from the new moon. Anything that you're picking up on from that, Mona, before I continue?
I think I pulled a card and our male relationships card showed up. And it's ironic that this card would show up with the Cancer. I actually have a Cancer male in the house. So,
oh, wow.
Yes, and a lot of what you were saying, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the energy I've been picking up with him. And today being Father's Day too. I think that we need to pay close attention to this new moon. I mean, the Cancer energy that's coming in and our men and how it's going to affect our men, you know, with that energy. And you know how Cancer energy is. So if you have a male at home right now and he's a little bit cranky or crabby, just know that's that Cancer energy coming through, and, you know, try to be more understanding that it will subside.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for bringing that up. Such a great observation and so important to pay attention to. Yeah, because especially with our men, you know, they tend to hold in their emotions naturally. They're conditioned to do that, you know what I mean? And so that naturally may come through. Also noting the spirit message about arrogance and force of attraction. So anytime we're feeling any arrogance, or anytime we're feeling it from other people, maybe the men in our life or other people in our life, reminding ourselves that it probably is triggered or amplified by that Cancer energy as well. So kind of being more patient and kind to others and to yourself during this time.
Yeah, and Cancers are so sweet. They're really sweet people. I mean, in general, so that you're also going to get that energy too, you know, that nurturing energy that Cancers have, you know? So like the fact that the Akashic records is like, look at the male relationships in your family with this energy. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of men that are going to be like really kind of sensitive, and they don't know why they're sensitive right now. And they just need that, reassurance that everything's going to be okay, you know, and kind of smothering, kind of have the mommy them mother.
That divine feminine energy always can heal that masculine so well. I was also getting a lot of truth seeking, truth finding, and turning to the divine feminine for that intuitive truth, that spiritual truth right now. And the Cancer new moon is also the middle of 3 eclipses with the solar eclipse. And so this is really showing us that we're cycling in a lot of phases right now with those eclipses, and that this is a big phase that we're entering. And the sun and moon is actually Quickhunk's Saturn, which means that we're really learning through trials and tribulations. We're learning how to be more mature through challenges, and it's really helping us to be more responsible and accountable for ourselves and for the things that we, you know, participate in, which I think we're seeing, you know, across the board in the world as well. So all of this energy, just really making so much sense for what we're kind of evolving into. And, you know, as we move through these cycles, we recognize that with the summer solstice, we are moving into that phase of Christ consciousness and more availability to it. So that represents unconditional love, peace, justice, equality. And then with the masculine energy of that summer and sun energy, that protection, that support, that change and action for change. So all of that energy combining, it does really show us that we are winning the spiritual war as we just continue to focus in on ourselves, nurture ourselves, stay in that place of less ego and less fear and more love and compassion and unity.
Said less ego, less fear. I pulled fear, ego, drama. This card represents, this is when we pull this card, that means the Akashic Records wants us to look, we need to let go of fear. We need to let go of ego. We need to let go of drama. We need to rewrite any contracts that we have saying that we have fear.
Yes.
Ego, drama, release that, let it go.
Yes.
And live in the moment, embrace love. Live in the moment of consciousness. Just get out of your way. Get out of the way of fear, ego, drama, whatever's stopping you from transcending, elevating. These are the three. These three things right here will stop you from being your best self. So when I pull this card, and you said it, like literally today, you've said a lot of, and I'm holding the cards and I'm like, we're
connected, girl. We're connected.
It's crazy.
Two Seers in one.
From the first time we met, it was like, the first time we met, it was like, hi, goddess. It was like, hi, goddess. Like, I know you.
Yeah, we did. Our souls recognized each other. Yeah, it's so powerful. And I encourage this for everybody watching as well. You know, if you have an intuitive friend that you always resonate with, or that you're able to connect with whenever you're feeling, that you need validation or you want clarity on a message you're getting, really use your tribe for that, because we are seeing this truth seeking and truth finding and alignment of our intuition to help us to find the truth fully. And so it's important to check our truths, our intuitive truths, with our friends who are also intuitive, and to dive deeper into those conversations, because we end up learning so much more from it and gaining so much more from it on a mass collective as well. So this is so fun. I'm so grateful. So the last little thing I want to touch on before we pull some cards for the end is first the retrograde planets. We do have 5 retrograde planets this week. We've got Venus, which is in retrograde until the 25th. We've got Neptune that actually doesn't go retrograde until Tuesday. And then we've got Saturn that's in retrograde, Jupiter in retrograde, and Mercury that just went in retrograde last week. So we've got tons of retrograde planets. Specifically on the 24th and 25th is where we're going to feel even more of that, with the Neptune coming into retrograde as well. And so what this is really letting us know is that we're getting this amplification of awareness on love from Venus and pleasure, on joy and expansion from Jupiter, on responsibility and accountability from Saturn, and from our dreaminess and our connection to spirituality from Neptune, and then of course our communication with Mercury. So we're really having to reassess, reevaluate, and realign in a lot of different areas of our lives, which is causing a bit of chaos, but it's causing the right kind of chaos for growth and productivity. So this is all for the better. So just make sure to tame your emotions through it, make sure to honor it, make sure to journal and meditate through things, breathe through things. This is why this event is so powerful. We've got breath work and movement with Paula, and channeled prayer and song with Lotus Sky at the end of today for the closing ceremony. I'm also hosting a energy cleanse and visualization a little bit before that. And then we've got more roundtable discussion and resource sharing from Admira as well. So we've got so much happening, and even the sound healing and the self-love workshop that we had before this reading. All of this is touching on these different qualities of our life that we're reassessing and needing healing on, and comfort and nurturance on. So please take advantage of these segments, and please feel free to share with people that you feel need this healing, because in the stars, it's written in the stars, it's written in the energy. This is what we need right now.
All right, it's transformation. And I don't think I pulled this card, transformation, as you were explaining all the different retrogrades we're going through. I think it's important for people to realize, when we go through retrograde, everyone's like, oh no, my life's going to be a wreck. Oh no, I'll go through this. No, you're going to go through that because you told yourself you're going to go through that. We're actually when we have retrogrades, we're going through transformation. And I wish I could tell more people, this is a time for transformation. This is a time for you to sit with yourself, feel the emotions you need to feel. And like you said, journal. journaling is so important. Meditation is so important. I tell people all the time, especially as a seer, I said, do you have a dream journal? No, I don't have one. I'm like, listen, the moment something comes to your mind, write it down. It may not make sense now, but later it's going to make sense.
Yep.
The retrograde's the same way. The emotions that come up and how you're feeling, write it down. Right now, it may not make sense, but a month from now, you may go back and read that, and it's going to make sense why when we were going through the retrograde, why you felt the way you felt. What were you experiencing? What were you downloading? You were going through a transformation. You were going through growth. You were going through a breaking. You know, breakings are transformation too. So instead of looking at these retrogrades as, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? We have 4 retrogrades. No, don't look at it like that. Look at it like, okay, we have some retrogrades coming. Come on, bring them on. What am I gonna learn?
Let's go. Let's do the transformation work.
Right. What are we gonna learn? What are we gonna experience? What's gonna be our growth in these retrogrades?
Yeah, get excited for the transformation. Be like that little kid. Activate your inner child. Be excited. Right. Be enthusiastic. Be adventurous. Be explorative with what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're experiencing in every moment during these retrogrades to help you transform. So powerful. All right, very last little piece I want to share is just a couple more tiny little highlights of this week for astrology. On Tuesday, June 23rd, we have confidence and joy being activated within ourselves with a powerful 23 number. 23 is a lion's number. It actually is very connected to Lyra, which I thought was very interesting with that arrogance card being pulled with Starseed Saturday. So make sure on Tuesday for all of you, we're going to have an activation of confidence. Make sure it doesn't go into arrogance. Make sure to tame that. Neptune is retrograde that day as well. So we're going to feel a spiritualization of our life increased and allowing us to have more harmony and clarity in that way. And then on Thursday, the 25th, it's going to be a great day for spiritual study. There's going to be some activations of your channeling capabilities and your intuitive sight. So be ready for that, Mona. You're probably going to have tons of activations with your seeing powers.
Thursdays are for me a big day. Thursdays and Sundays for some reason.
Interesting. Yeah. And so with that on Thursday, Venus goes direct. So that'll be nice. That'll be kind of a completion of the transformations in love and pleasure that we've had during that retrograde. And it's really going to help us to align with our new definitions of love and pleasure that we've created. And then finally on Sunday, the 28th, that's when Mars sextiles Saturn, which is going to help us move through any obstacles. We're going to need patience during that. So make sure you're just kind of being able to observe and take things at your own pace, not trying to rush through things. This is going to be a really powerful energy. So feel free to call on any of the energies and ascended masters, deities, Ganesh, that may help you through obstacles on Sunday. But overall, it will be a productive movement forward from those challenges that we may see.
Yes, I think Sunday is Archangel Michael too comes through Sunday.
Yeah, we pulled his card last week, which I thought was so powerful. So yeah, that energy so strong. Yeah. Archangel Michael has really been there for us during this time, and I think it's so important, that protection.
Yeah.
All right, with that being said, everyone, I want to go ahead and we'll pull our cards for the week. Mona, feel free to pull whatever cards you want to pull as well. And I also want to remind everybody watching at home, please remember that we are supporting BLM Phoenix Metro. So if you would like to donate in support of this healing event and in support of the movement, please make sure to donate. I did put it in the comments. I will throw it in the comments one more time for all of you real quick. And it is available. That link is also available in all of the descriptions of all of the segments of this amazing day. And what else? Oh, and another quick little thing I will mention is that we did have a slight change in schedule. We no longer have Intuitive Goddess doing the energy cleanse at 12:30 today, but don't worry, because I am going to add a quick energy cleanse in my visualization portion that will be, I think I'm going live for that at 3:15 PST, so you guys can get ready for that. So after we are done here with the weekly reading, just stay tuned for part 2 of the roundtable discussion that will kick off at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time to finish out the roundtable part 1 from earlier today. So super excited for you all to be a part of that discussion and watch that as well. And then, of course, like I said, we'll want to check in with the calendar and the schedule with that promo video that I posted a couple days ago, so that you can access the direct links of every segment in case you miss one or in case there's any technological issues. So just resort to that promo video if all else fails. Okay, everyone? All right, Mona, did you pull some cards? Because while you go over yours, I'll pull mine.
Okay, I pulled 3 cards. The first card that came up was Inspiration and Wisdom. Inspiration and Wisdom is telling us that right now is a good time for us to journal, get a good book. One of the things that I do to ground myself is I read a lot. Grab onto any inspiration, anything that inspires you. Okay, right now is a very important time for us to get grounded and try to inspire ourselves. Okay, and grab onto that wisdom. So maybe if you get a good book or something, read the quotes and write those quotes down. Okay, get the wisdom from these inspirations, movies, books, journaling. That's what I'm feeling like the Inspiration and Wisdom card is telling us. The other thing that the Akashic Records is wanting us to look at is peace. Peace. It's asking us to just find that peace, that balance. Everything's going to be okay. You know, we have ground ourselves, sit with ourselves, and just embrace the peace that is coming. Because there is, I know it seems like it can be chaotic right now, but there is peace coming. Yes. And it's coming sooner rather than later. Okay, just we have to kind of go through what we have to go through now together as a collective, and then there is going to be peace. So as long as you keep your mind focused on that peace, you'll be okay. And the last card is Sacred Contracts.
Ooh, wow, we talked so much about that today too.
Yeah, so the Sacred Contracts. Now, we don't want to do any contracts now because we're in a retrograde, okay?
Right.
But with the Sacred Contracts, it's asking us to remember, and that's where peace is going to come in too, like meditation and peace. It's asking us to look at and recall the contracts of why we came here. Think about that. Like maybe we cannot do the contracts now while we're in a retrograde, but we can take notes in our journaling, in our book. And then after the retrogrades pass, we can write a contract to ourselves, removing anything that's negative that's in our life and embracing the good, you know? So we need to look at our sacred contracts, why we're here. What is our soul mission? And what do we want to gain from that so that we ultimately can have our peace? Okay.
Oh, so powerful. I love that. Thank you so much, Mona. Those are such powerful cards and so in alignment with what we've been talking about, and definitely feel all of that energy. I'll go ahead and share the cards I pulled because I think that they tie in a kind of unique way, and also in like a very fun kind of story as well. So the first card I pulled was Friendship. And I love this card for the beginning of the week because I feel like this is like a card for me because I'm connected with all my sisters, all my friends in light, and they're just joining together with me on this event. They were so kind enough to support me in this vision, and I just feel so surrounded by friends. And I really feel like this is something that we're all feeling, you know, just from this event itself too, activating this community, this web of light community, these like-minded people, these like-energied people that are here to bring justice, equality, unity, peace, and love to the world, and to stand for what is really, really important at this time. And so really making sure that your friendships align with your goals and align with your intentions and with the things that you believe in, because right now, the people who we surround ourselves with are really going to affect our energy so much. because we're at such a powerful transformation in our life. So if we are choosing to align with energies or friendships that are opposing what our truth is, or opposing what our goals for the world is, or for ourselves, then we're actually telling the universe that we are okay with that, and that we're going to be, you know, accomplice to that energy in our own lives. And we don't want to be that. We don't want to have that guilty by association from the universe with people that aren't really aligned to us. So be paying attention to your friendships. And then the next card for the middle of the week is oppression. I know it's a little bit hard to read the top. There it is. And I think this is such an important card because of what's going on right now. You know, of course, we're seeing oppression in so many ways in the marginalized communities that have been oppressed for centuries. We also see an oppression of truth, you know, in such a big way. And I think that the veil is thinning, that we are releasing a lot of illusion, that things are really coming to the surface, and we're going to be continually revealed truth throughout this entire transformation. So what we want to do most is to stay open-minded, open-hearted to feeling into our intuition on what feels most true to us, so that we can discern what's really true and what's not with our own intuition, with our own spirit's help. And in oppression, of course, we want to make sure that we connect with our friends so that we are no longer feeling as much of the oppression. When we're feeling heavy, when we're feeling down, when we're feeling like, you know, the weight of the world is on us, reach out to your friends, because the last card of this little reading is letting us know that you are not alone. So really reminding yourself to reach out to your friends, but also to your spirit guides, to your higher self, to your higher power, you know, to the higher vibrational energy that is within you. Reach out to that and know that you are not alone. If you're feeling oppressed or you're feeling, you know, isolated, please, 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 just remember you are not alone, and reach out to others when you're feeling that way if it's getting too much for you, because it's important for you to have that support and that nurture, and we're here to hold space for you. And I know there's so many people in your life that are as well. So make sure to ask for help when needed.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to us, because that's what we're here for. Like,
exactly.
I know Rissa's gonna put our information in the bio and the links, but just feel free to just go on and send us a message. You know, we're here for you. We feel the energy you feel. You know, we're here to help, to heal you. So you're not alone. You're not alone.
Gosh. That's so true. I love this reading. This was so powerful. So much we talked about, so much we covered, so much we intuited. Yeah,
it was beautiful, beautiful. I feel like I have the rest of the day, and it's like, oh, I can't wait to see the rest of my sisters, you know, vibrating and meditating. And then I can't wait to replay everything back over later.
Yeah, same here.
Right. It's a beautiful day. Just like embrace all the love and the power of today. It's such a powerful day. And I hope everyone's watching feels the energy too, and they get that energy. And I hope like they're grabbing their journals right now, writing and, you know, taking notes and like, okay, I'm going to do this later and do this, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help you to teach you, because we want you to heal. When you heal, we vibrate higher too. So, and then you heal someone, and it's a trickle down effect.
Yes. So, yes, that web of light community, that ripple effect into the world of the high vibration of love and peace. Well, thank you so much, Mona.
Yeah, we're vibrating at 5D. We're up there, like, you know, like we are fifth dimension.
Yes. Fifth dimension is here. The revolution is here. We are in the new earth, and we are creating it as we speak. It feels so good.
Yes. Thank you so much, Rissa. I miss you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here, Mona. I'm so grateful for you. Please, everyone, make sure to follow Mona on Instagram at the Akashic Healer. And also, I will be putting her bio in the description of this video so you can learn a little bit more about her and her contact info, so you can all reach out to her for one-on-one sessions and readings from her as well. And just to remind you, after this live reading, we will go into the part 2 roundtable discussion at 1:30 Pacific time. And then after that, at 2:30 Pacific time, we will have some resource sharing by Admira for for the BLM community. And then we will also have at the end, or after that, we'll have 3:15 to 3:45 visualization and energy cleansing by me. And then we will close everything out from 4 to 5 Pacific time with Lotus Sky and Paola for a closing ceremonial prayer and breathwork movement, guided movement practice. It's going to be amazing. So stay tuned. Make sure that you all check in with that promo video that I posted a couple days ago if you're having any hard times finding the links for the segments. Other than that, I will see you all in a little bit for part 2 of the roundtable.
Bye.
Bye.